This insider drops an absolute bombshell about the Boston Celtics. As we all know, the Boston Celtics within 24 hours have drastically changed their roster with trading Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porziņģis. But Jrue Holiday had apparently something to say about this trade, and the Boston Celtics as well are in the news about moving into this year's lottery. Well, there is a lot going on with the Boston Celtics. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video here on Celtics Digest. I'm Patrick Billings, and thank you guys so much for dropping so much love over here on Celtics Digest as we're dropping so much content. The Boston Celtics have just been absolutely bombing us with news, trade reports, rumors, and all that good stuff. So if you guys love to hear all your news on all things Celtics, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. A lot of you guys watch our videos and you're not subscribed. Well, what are you doing? We're constantly dropping content here on Celtics Digest, and you're not going to want to miss anything. Multiple videos a day, and I'm telling you, you're really not going to want to miss anything because Brad Stevens is moving real fast. And without further ado, let's get right into this video. So first of all, we are going to talk about Jrue Holiday as he was moved to the Portland Trail Blazers, a place where he was traded to for Damian Lillard, and now he's traded for Anthony Simons. And while I think that we knew that Jrue Holiday was going to be one of those first guys to be moved, but he doesn't seem to be too happy about the move, as we see here per Legion Hoops, but the source was from Steve B. Hoop. Jrue Holiday is reportedly pissed that he was traded to Portland. He does not want to go there. And if we remember, when he was first traded for Damian Lillard, it was said that he wanted to retire. But then he moved to the Boston Celtics and things just magically changed. So clearly he does not want to be back in Portland. I did have him mocked going to the Portland Trail Blazers in a trade. It wasn't exactly for Anthony Simons, but he was definitely mocked being there from myself because I thought that he'd be a perfect pick for this team because Portland in the second half of the year was a great defensive team, and I felt like their pieces have really grown into some really solid pieces and can really do some damage in the league, especially in the Western Conference. But clearly, Jrue Holiday really wants to win now, and I don't blame him. Now, this is a quote from the article. Now, if he winds up staying there, I'm sure he'll be professional. He's always been and make a positive contribution, said the source, but he is not happy with this deal. I'll be surprised if Portland doesn't move him on if they can, because right now he does not want to go there. I'm sure if he has to go to Portland, he'll end up going there and it'll be okay. But right now, they want to be somewhere else. But with that contract, it's not going to be very easy. And I think that we knew that. It was going to be very hard to move Jrue Holiday, as that contract was definitely tough, especially at his age. But he did bring a lot of interest to a lot of different teams. We did see the Los Angeles Clippers being interested in Jrue Holiday, and as well as the Dallas Mavericks being interested in Jrue Holiday. So there are a couple of teams that are definitely looking at Jrue Holiday to go and add into their championship teams. We saw Kyrie Irving take a little bit of a cheaper deal in Dallas. Maybe they could try and move for Jrue Holiday. I don't really know the parameters behind the money that they have as of right now, but there's definitely some interest around the league if he does not want to be in Portland. But it definitely sucks to see Jrue Holiday be unhappy after he did so much for the Boston Celtics, and we can only wish him well in his future endeavors wherever he ends up. But now another really big report, something that I am very excited about, as I do love the NBA draft, as this is very exciting, as the Boston Celtics, like I said in the beginning of this video, they are moving fast. Brad Stevens is moving left and right, and by the time I record this video, I'm sure that another move will be made for either other players or for draft capital, and that's what I'm going to get into with this one here. As per sources, the same source, Steve Bulpett, per sources, the Celtics are trying to move into the lottery, and they are looking at guard Kasper Ziakochonis, said to be the target. We have talked about it on this channel that the Boston Celtics have been looking at some guards, which is pretty surprising. I mean, we know that the Boston Celtics did just get Anthony Simons, but do we think that he will end up staying on the team, as they are still in that luxury tax? They are out of the second apron, but they could use him as some trade capital as well. Maybe as like a Sam Hauser they could use to also get out of that luxury tax. But, not everything is set in stone as of right now. So the Boston Celtics, if their plan is to go for a guard as they moved into the workouts, they took a lot of guards into these workouts. So it's not too much of a surprise, but we do know that they need some big men. And if we look into this article here, the Celtics haven't played the lottery since 2020. Thank you to the Memphis Grizzlies. And they selected Aaron Nesmith at 14, which we know he turned out to be a great player as he got some more playing time over in Indiana. And he played very, very well in the playoffs. And I'm very happy to see him flourish. But we see that the Boston Celtics are currently holding the 28th pick. And the Celtics are said to be trying to trade up in the draft. And they have particular interest in Kristaps Porziņģis. He's a 6'6 guard from Illinois, and he just turned 19 on May the 29th. He averaged 15 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 4.7 assists in his one season at Illinois. And we got a quote here: "It remains to be seen whether Boston can get up where they need to be to draft him, but there are definitely teams up high that are looking to trade back," said one front office source, as he is and the other clubs prepare for Wednesday's draft, as this will come out on Wednesday, so that will be today, the first round of the draft. The question is how far back those teams are willing to go and what Boston is willing to offer to get them to do it. And I think that this is really, really interesting that the Boston Celtics are looking at a point guard, because there are a lot of options that they can go moving up into the lottery, especially when it comes to the center position. But if we look at a guy like Kristaps Porziņģis, he's a very good decision maker, great facilitator, and I think that his offense is also very great. Not really much of a three-point shooter, but he's a very solid defender. He's got some things to work on as it comes to physicality, and if he's going to be able to physically compete with some bigger guys. I mean, he is a bigger guard at 6'6", but a little bit on the smaller size when it comes to strength. But I think that this is a very interesting way that the Boston Celtics are looking at things here, because, again, they just got Anthony Simons. They do have Derrick White, of course. Jaylen Brown can still play the guard as he's been playing a little bit of the forward. But they also have Peyton Pritchard. So it seems like if those are the four guards to say, what is the reason for getting Jokic? So let's kind of talk about if they keep those four guys, Anthony Simons stays, right? Peyton Pritchard, of course, going to come off the bench. Is this still something that we could see the Boston Celtics going after? I mean, of course. But if they're going to move up into the lottery, there are a lot of choices that they can make here. So I did grab this screenshot here of the green room invitees. This is all voted in by a lot of GMs and guys within the NBA, and they vote on a certain amount of players, to who gets into the green room, because they think that they will be drafted within that lottery, high to mid first round. So these are a couple guys that we could look at here that I think that the Boston Celtics could look to go after if Jokic is not the answer for them. Jokic, again, I do want to touch on before I get into some of these guys. Before everything was kind of set in stone, he seemed to be a top 5 guy, but now he's really falling out close to the end of the 10s when it comes to like the 10 to the 12. I haven't really seen him going past 12, to be honest. So if we are looking at the Celtics trying to trade up that high, but with Kristaps Porziņģis no longer on the team, Luke Kornet and Al Horford still not really on contracts, I think that their need is more at center. So we look at a couple of guys, maybe a Derek Queen the Boston Celtics can get after. I think you could get more comfortable if they don't get into the lottery. Maybe at the end, you look at a guy like a Danny Wolf, but they could also have the chance at a common Malawach, which is definitely another great option for the Boston Celtics, especially as a lob threat. I think that Derek Queen can give you a little bit more of an option as a facilitator, as he's kind of been told to be a little bit of a baby Jokic. We're not going to get into those comparisons as much, but Malawach, I think, is a great fit for the Boston Celtics as well. But there are a lot of things that the Boston Celtics can do here if they get up into the lottery or even just outside of the lottery. But within this source, they're pushing real hard to do that, and I think that Brad Stevens, with how he's been making all these moves, I think he's going to make it happen, and it's going to be on an incredible deal that surprises absolutely everybody. And of course, one more guy that I'm going to touch on that might be a possibility for the Boston Celtics if they're looking at big. Well, that might be Thomas Sorber out of Georgetown. I know that's Bruce's guy. Got to shout him out, of course. And I mean, there's a lot of options here for the Boston Celtics if they move up into that lottery. And I think that the draft is going to be a lot of fun, especially with the way that Brad Stevens is moving. You just got to trust him. You just got to trust them. I mean, you would have loved to have Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porziņģis be around forever and be healthy and just keep on winning, because that team was just so incredible winning that championship. But it's time to move on, guys. This is what it's all about. It's a business, and the Boston Celtics are trying to retool and put themselves into a position to win another championship. And guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Comment down below what you guys think about all this stuff. What do you think about Jrue Holiday being pissed about getting sent to Portland? And what do you think about the Boston Celtics being interested in Jonas instead of being interested in a center now that Kristaps Porziņģis is gone? And let me know what you think their choices would be inside of the lottery. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure you subscribe and keep dropping those comments and giving us all the love over here. We love it all. And with that being said, we will see you guys in the next video. And let's go Boston Celtics. Peace out, guys.